It's definitely going to be fairly Coastline free. We'll see how the bans go down. We have seen some different bans. We saw Buck and Valk, for example, from Liquid, which was definitely different than usual, and Blitz going out. So Immortals just trying to keep it interesting yet again. We talked earlier about how this is the one region that does like to ban Blitz. There are definitely some teams that like to run it. I got to imagine they don't want BootKamp running it by a particular player. And that is definitely not going to happen now. This is where usually Lion should be next, but there's a possibility that one team decides to just let it hang and see how Lion goes on this map. But this is already a struggle for roamers as it is, and there it is. So Glass a good one to get off the board, but leaving Lion on good luck roaming on this map.
Not only roaming, just in general, Lion being in play is going to upset the ebb and flow of the entire game. It makes actually seeing what goes on somewhat difficult at times because, well, he just kind of throws everything out of whack. Mira also banned out, so that's one of those bans that you would expect. And Clash gone, not surprising, especially if either of these teams watched the previous match we just now had on Coastline. Liquid versus FaZe. The way Liquid was playing Clash on Penthouse, forget about it. Get rid of Clash.
Well, I got to imagine we're going to see a lot of Maestro play again then, and maybe some Echo play as well, because Maestro being already strong on this map, and then a lot of players play very well, as we saw previously. Not so much the Doc play, but I guess they are going to go with the Echo instead. No, there's Maestro over there. What am I doing? Sometimes I see it out of order. Legion, though, actually there for now, but he might 6th pick over to it. As he sees the IQ now, might even reconsider. They are going to start on Penthouse, despite that being a bit riskier for their lineup, but they're actually going to go with the Pulse instead. And no Lion being brought out just makes me think they just were not planning for the lack of ban.
So they see the IQ, and they lean heavier into the electronics. You could argue that Legion is just as counterable as Pulse is from an IQ. But
there's a difference between tracking your gadget and tracking your body, though.
Bingo! Took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, it's a big risk that you're putting yourself in. And Valkyrie is also very exposed in that she doesn't have many gadgets, so every single one that is lost to an IQ is a pretty solid hit to her usefulness. Though, yeah, Immortals just gonna stick true to that. They're committing.
And this is really risky because I mean, obviously the black guys as well. I mean, will get spotted out, but it's if they catch on the drone phase that there's a pulse. There's certain ways that are pretty typical to play him for, especially this bomb site, that are likely to get read out and then of course spotted by the IQ. And
you know what? This is a random thing. I know it is, but can I just say I appreciate how Immortals happens to have all names that are short enough where they can fit Immortals, the full spelt out Immortals in their name.
They don't have to just go with IMT.
Yeah, it's just odd. You don't usually see that. No. Anyway, Navi's trying to hold on to that north balcony. This is a very dangerous challenge. And he doesn't have a Clash shield to aid him since that was banned out, but an excellent shot onto Duds. Clean as can be, and he's looking for more. He's hungry for blood. Paula will take down Cyber, and M-King gets the refrag onto Navi's, so wow, it was a good start for Immortals.
He hadn't even put down the second Evil Eye yet, though. Greedy Gus.
Yeah, that is actually greedy. Yeah, if he didn't get that second Evil Eye down, that is a huge waste of utility for Immortals, and ill-advised.
Unfortunately, it doesn't just fall in your pocket and let you see through his corpse.
No, that would be weird. Could you imagine?
Yeah, it'd be fun, though. You never know. They die strategically. Either way, though, advantage going over to the attackers here, for sure. That pulse was short-lived, unfortunately, as we were talking about earlier. Committing to it did not, unfortunately, lead to results. But they are actually going to rotate off of site here and go for either retake or flank, depending on how the timing goes. Fortunately, timing in favor of Intact.
Intact able to get that frag onto the smoke. I'm not really sure what the idea is here from Immortals. They have nobody holding the site right now. As they pushed everyone off to try and take out the roamers. Intact's going to get his second kill onto the Jaeger, and Paula will shut down one, so a nice clear from BootKamp, and Immortals go down.
Well, I mean, I appreciate the gumption from Immortals, but in a way they just kind of gave BootKamp around there.
Ultimately a very confusing round from Immortals. I'm not really sure what their thought process was.
First round, I'll give them that.
Yeah.
They can won.
They can adapt and change. So if you're wondering what we're talking about here, basically what happened is that Immortals just gave away opportunities to BootKamp. They presented many opportunities. Every single one of those players was presenting an opportunity to be taken out by their opponents.
Well,
And
good on BootKamp for punishing him for that.
Yeah, BootKamp were like, hell, yeah, we'll take it. For
All
sure.
right.
All right.
Let's start off with a round, okay.
So Penthouse going to be the next defense here, so we'll go back to whence we came. And, yeah, I can imagine that Immortals is going to say, hey, you know what? Let's play it a little bit safer this round. See if we can avoid peeking everything.
Maybe not go with the pulse this time either.
Well,
As they are gonna, and they are going to 6-pick on the attack, but this time they went teasing the Lion, and Boar decided to 6-pick over to the Dokkaebi.
Yeah.
Which, I mean...
Curious.
I guess either way, you get some ability to stop people. I always like to think that in some ways you get a little bit of double up combined with the Lion in that you stop someone. Because when they go to answer their phone, right, they're stopped in place, similar to the Lion. And you get to hear them up to that point. So in some ways, depending on how the defenders play it, you get a Lion plus.
Okay.
That's not how you play that.
Yeah.
In theory.
I guess. Also depends on who you are as a player.
Absolutely. And so I just like to play the devil's advocate on that.
Yeah, I got you.
But either way, we'll see how he plays. It did play out fairly well for him last time, or last round rather. But they are going to play, as you said, probably a little more careful this time. Although we are hearing a lot of early shots happen. Those may just be from the attackers pre-opening windows and doors. But one is playing very dangerous game here, but is not punished this time. He is hoping to catch someone who thinks they can just enter down below willy-nilly.
That's just a distraction holes being made here.
I like the mentality on that.
And one waiting for an opportunity to run out on his opponents. Not from the doorway, because that's not prepped, but actually from the window.
Yeah.
That's to the east there.
Good to catch people on rappel, actually.
Yeah, so he's waiting to try and run out on the north balcony. But doesn't seem like there's any pressure being applied to the north balcony right now from BootKamp. This is a curious attack strategy right now. And it's actually countering the setup that we're seeing from Immortals.
Oh, speaking of countering.
Paula, nice headshot onto Yuke. And as the Jaeger goes down, it seems that the rotation has been called from Immortals. They're aware of where the attack is coming from now. And I don't know if it's going to be enough because they've got some exposed parties, most notably Navi's inside of VIP. This is not an easy location to hold, and he will lose the fight to Duds. He aims at the torso and loses the DPS challenge to that AK variant.
At least he put up both Evil Eyes this time.
Now, he does have the Evil Eyes up, but his body will no longer be able to assist the defense, and losing an ACOG is odd. A very tight angle from Cyber, and one will follow that up as well with his own kill. Now, Immortals keeping themselves in this round, but still, they're fighting back against the pressure that BootKamp has applied. Again, playing this extremely tight angle. Cyber looking for some more kills, and he narrowly missed those shots up to M-King. One is looking to flank onto his opponent, but he's given away his position. Has Legion Trap, so he's not worried about being pressured himself, but he's not able to do enough damage for it to matter that he has this position. Gas canisters coming out here to the... Oh, nice! Another clean shot from Cyber. Absolutely nutty. Inside of Penthouse, playing the backwards angle into Projector. He has been a huge driving force for his team in this round so far, just hitting all of his shots. Now, BootKamp's still in this, but one is starting to come up from behind, trying to apply some pressure to this attack. And it doesn't look like BootKamp really has the time or the manpower to flank hold anymore. The push from Diogo is going to be shut down. The diffuser's being planted. Boar will be the one to cover. Diffuser no longer being planted, though. The attackers will come off of it. C4 from Cyber misses. One really needs to get into the picture here as Cyber finally gets shut down. One will take out Boar. The diffuse plant now being planted inside of Penthouse, and one just too passive. The diffuser will go down, and now he has to retake onto a anchoring M-King, holding this post-plant situation. Though, M-King very lit up, one is as well. Slight advantage for the Legion. The mark's coming out, the information is abundant, and he still loses it! The pre-fire off the mark! M-King caught in throwing his flashes, and still wins it out! What just happened?
Again, in the theme of utility being used, he died with 5 goo mines in his pocket.
Oh boy, there's so many things wrong about how one played it. All right, I'm gonna go backwards. I'm gonna take a look at every single thing that happened there.
Let's unpack this.
Yeah, we're gonna unpack that. He started roaming as the Legion downstairs in kitchen.
Mistake
all right?
one.
Mistake one, as far away from the action as he could possibly be. He was looking to late flank. He saw his opportunity. He seized it, but he hovered around it for at least a minute 30 after he got up to the top floor, going between hookah and aquarium and back and forth, expecting there to be a late flank watch, but there was none. In a 2 versus 2, why are you waiting for someone to watch the flank? The pressure is being applied to the site. You need to go. And he didn't. He didn't. Despite Cyber's best efforts as the anchor on the site, it just was not enough because his teammate was nowhere to be found until it was too late. And we're not even talking about how it was the worst possible operator to be in that situation.
Yeah. Well, credit to Cyber, though, for his plays. I thought he put up a valiant effort trying to pretty much single-handedly defend the site.
Certainly.
But, yeah, unfortunately, one was nowhere to be found, and too little too late. Like you said, he had the pre-fire advantage there, still could not pull it off. So hopefully that was just a fluke, and they managed to get it together as they are down 2 rounds, and Boar is finally bringing out the Lion for realsies this time.
I gotta say, I'm gonna take a second. We're gonna further unpack what we just saw there from one, because it seemed like honestly he was just playing scared. That's what it seemed like, and I want to take a second to talk about how the 2 losses that Immortals has in the second half of the season were against FaZe and Liquid. 2 very big names, granted, but they weren't just losses. They were against FaZe it was a 1-6, and against Liquid it was a 2-6. Absolutely dominant wins for their opponents. Immortals seems to have an issue with mentality, and I think it comes down to expectations and need. You know, playing against BootKamp right now, they're down 2 rounds. They really do need to win this to solidify their spot at LAN. They've got another match where they can do so, but it would be ideal to get it here, and that might be costing them.
Well, they did manage to get some use out of the Lion, but Cyber and Navi's on top of it. Let's hope Navi's can get more than 1 kill this time before getting downed. But yeah, that's definitely a lot to make up for. At least this round, though, they seem to be doing significantly better. Navi's is a little bit low in health. He's having trouble tanking shots here. Nearly takes a few more from Intact. But at least they have some manpower working out for them. They are playing a different bomb site as well. But no, that is still just 1 for Navi's. But hey, at least he's racking up 1 around.
Oof. Excellent shots from both Intact and M-King. Boar will also follow that up with a kill onto Cyber. What looked to be an Immortals round is rapidly slipping away. Well, I believe both of the EE1Ds have been used, so that utility is gone, but the damage is done, and it was oh so worth it. 1 and Diogo now the last 2 defenders. These are optimal defenders to have alive as your last 2, though. Lesion and Smoke, you can delay so very much with those 2, and that will certainly be the objective, as the attack has plenty of time to work with here.
Yeah, let's hope 1 doesn't hold back too many of those goo mines, because a lot of those placed around where they might approach can stop them from rushing into plant, even if you die, giving Diogo a better chance to be able to fight back. But he still has 3 gas canisters in pocket, which is good for him. But at the same time, he doesn't necessarily have all the rotates he needs to be able to fight this. He's depending a lot on 1 here to win this fight.
Now 1 is playing a very aggressive angle. This is dangerous. If he's spotted, he could be pre-fired, but no. He's the one to get the bullets into M-King. Position given away, though, he will relocate. Now it's on 1 to hold A, and on Diogo to hold B. Flashbangs coming out. They will miss Diogo and 1 both. The gas canisters are being expended, though, very rapidly. Lots of marks. Clearly a drone in a good position to spot out their opponents. Information is abundant. And that's going to be the cameras from the Valkyrie for Immortals. Oh, bad timing for Diogo. He's going to get caught off guard, and Intact will win the fight. Because of that, M-King gets surrounded and finished off. And, or rather, 1 gets surrounded and finished off. M-King the one to get the final kill. And BootKamp take another one. That's 3 in a row for them.
That is definitely not what we would have expected so far. I mean, we talk about this being an attacker-sided map, and that doesn't always end up being the case. We saw, for example, a pretty clear opposite of that last matchup. So far, though, BootKamp just, I don't know, it seems to be they're dismantling Immortals in many situations. They did start out with a bit of a disadvantage. They lost a few fights initially. But many of these players on this team seem to only be able to land 1 kill. You have Cyber, most of the time landing 1 kill on average. You have Navi's doing something similar, 1 as well, aptly named. It seems to be that each of these players can land 1 kill, but as a team, as a whole, they're not landing 5 kills to win the round. And that seems to be a struggle. It's just I don't know, those last two are the ones that are not getting those kills in the sense of being able to even that out. And maybe that's just down somewhat to Diogo and Yuke.
You know, if I look back on Immortals, I think one of the things that stands out for them as a team is their ridiculously high synergy. They seem to be a team that works really well together. Though in this match, I'm not seeing it.
No. I'm
not seeing that teamwork that I'm used to, and it's really apparent that they're missing something right now. You know, sure, this match is far from over. It's only 3 rounds in. We're going into the 4th. Not a big deal. At any point, Immortals can start to recover this.
Absolutely. And I mean,
but
we know how common 3-2s are going in.
But at the same time, these rounds have looked like Immortals is missing something, and that's very worrisome.
It's definitely, I think, that synergy there. I mean, we're not seeing, like, you know, mind-blowing synergy from BootKamp either, but they're trading a lot of the kills that are getting you know, put on them, and that's absolutely working in their advantage, especially towards the end of the round when the defenders can't seem to really lock down sight. There's Navi's this time not even getting his one.
Yeah, Paula's been really prominent on the entry. He's been getting the first kill for a lot of these rounds. And he's just going to get 2, just like that. What is going on? Yuke, you know that there's somebody coming from kitchen side. It was called out when your teammate died. The marks are on you. You need to be in a position where you've got cover. What is going on? Paula with the 3K. Excellent use of the buck. All of the roamers are dead. Immortals, 2 anchors now, have to fight against the rising tide of BootKamp in a 2 versus 5.
Diogo in 1 yet again. I'm glad he's not on the roam, but now he's alone.
All right. It's 4-0 for BootKamp. Okay.
I mean, it feels like not so much a bang, but a whimper.
All right, so I'll tell you what just happened there. Paula got droned in. Paula used buck well. It was super effective. Immortals all died because they were staring in the wrong direction.
Critical hits.
Ay, ay, ay. I'm not sure what I just watched. First of all, admittedly, excellent use of buck from Paula. Excellent droning. Excellent teamwork for BootKamp. Freaking applause for that. Fantastic. Also, though, what is Immortals doing? I'm so confused.
You know what I would love to see them do? Trade.
Well, okay, all right. I mean, we are admittedly being very critical right now of Immortals, but
high expectations.
High expectations. That's the thing. They are right now a contender for LAN. They are in the strongest position they could possibly have. Liquid just lost their match. Their closest competition just took a mortal blow. If Immortals loses this, then that is them squandering the opportunity. They're playing against BootKamp, one of the lowest ranked teams in the region right now. This should be an Immortals win.
Certainly feels like an off night.
It does feel like an off night. These happen, though. These happen. Now, it's not over yet. Maybe we've seen it before where one team will get all 5 of the rounds on a certain half. And then as soon as the half transitions, and the other team will get their own full set of 5. So anything's possible.
Absolutely. I mean, it's certainly the case. Like you said, we were being a little harsh on Immortals because we expect more from them. And there's certainly still opportunity for that to show up. But that opportunity is shrinking down fairly rapidly here, the way these rounds are going down.
Yeah, you certainly need to start making the comeback happen at some point. And it's not just that. These rounds have seemed pretty one-sided, let's be honest, and that's the scary part.
I feel like Immortals' aggression is not well placed. You saw that from the roams last round, where they weren't set up positions to crossfire, or positions where they had intel, or positions where they didn't have to watch their flank. You saw how often they got shot in the butt by Paula.
And there's this again. Navi's is just peeking in VIP through the window. What happened last time he did this? He got a kill. It was a nice kill, an excellent, very clean kill. And then he died, and then so did his teammate, because he's playing in VIP, peeking the window. M-King's taken a lot of damage, but now Navi's has taken some in exchange. And M-King just playing it a little bit safe. Nade's going on to this north balcony door, and Cyber not going to eat any of that damage. He's actually going to peek into the buck and do a little damage of his own, but he will eat it in exchange thanks to that nade thrown well. Yuke takes down Duds, so finally Immortals start the round off well. A baiting camera there to try and distract his opponent. Will be successful for a moment, but the opportunity not seized from Cyber. Yokai drones for information, and it's being called that the Buck is on the close right of the door, but the shotgun not able to do enough damage, and Cyber will win that fight out. One of the main fraggers right now for Immortals. The aggression finally paying off for the defense, and it looks as though they're going to be able to salvage the last round of this first half.
Well, you talked about the synergy, and you saw he probably threw out that camera and actually called out for someone to watch it, as well as the Yokai drone rotating around. That's some teamwork there, and that's why they're landing those kills. And Paula getting down, much bigger impact kill than Duds.
I'm not sure what the thought process is here from Intact, but Yogo able to retrieve his teammate before Cyber just falls to his fate. Confusing. Intact has been down. M King is on very little HP. The drop in the midst of an EE1D will finish off Intact, but he also it costs Navi's life. Well, what is this unbridled aggression?
They have a man advantage now.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough, but they had it in the first place. They really want to push no matter what the situation. M King not going to be reset, it seems, and he will be on very low HP because of that. Yuke in the playmake position to just lock out this round if he peeks at the right situation. He will peek, see the EE1D player, and just not, well, actually trade with Boar. What just happened?
Because M King is so low on health, that was absolutely worth it against two tanky, 3 armor ACOG players.
Absolutely agree. One will get the final kill, and Immortals take the round, their very first out of 5.
That was, it was interesting to see because I was just talking about their aggression not working out, and the coordination was much, much better there. They were peeking similar angles, but it seemed like BootKamp weren't comfortable like counter-pressuring those angles as aggressively. Like, for example, against the Maestro, right? He knew where the Maestro was, wasn't able to peek him fast enough, but Maestro also has the bullet advantage. He took a lot of damage at first, and I feel like that took a hit to his confidence. Then you had the Buck as well. I feel like Paula could have potentially played it, but just the sheer audacity of the way Cyber was playing it, and Cyber has been playing his aggression fairly well compared to some of the other players on the team. Absolutely worked off, but good teamwork as well from the Echo, calling out the Buck play so he could somewhat pre-move on that.
Here's what worries me. As this match has progressed, the playstyle and mentality of Immortals has just ramped up and up and up and up and up and further and towards just pure aggression. And that is, not only is it predictable, but also it is easily counterable.
Very punishable.
If you know that it's something that a team will do. So if Immortals is gonna start getting more aggressive as they continue to lose a match like this, if this becomes something that's predictable for them, as they go into future matches, teams are just gonna get more and more passive, waiting for them to get pushed. I mean, it's dangerous, and they just won a round. Sure, they won 1 round of 5. But even when they were in a position where it seemed like they couldn't lose, they just pushed everything.
Threw bodies literally down onto the floor through the hatch.
Through a hatch. That is peeking a hatch
during a line.
When you know, during a line, when you know that it's being watched from below, is suicide. Like, that's actually one of the most dangerous things you can do in this game. There is little to no calculation that makes that a good move. Even if you have a downed opponent, just let them pick them up. Play your advantage.
Yeah, more often than not, downed opponents that get picked back up still get killed. But speaking of getting killed, there's Diffuser down with Duds with his big first impact kill there. Onto Yuke, a nice one by him, and that is on the only hard breacher as well. They do have the EE1D to try and stop bleeding for a second, but
it's not going to happen.
Nope.
Boar manages to take out Navi's in the midst of that E1D, and see, this is now BK's turn to set the tempo. We talked about this earlier in the previous match, actually, where the defense on Coastline seems to be the ones in charge of who's aggressing onto who. The attackers, on the other hand, seem to be at the mercy sometimes of the defense. It can be a little confusing.
Yeah.
The fact that Clash's banned as well changes the way that all plays out. But we're still seeing the defense, the ones who are pushing onto the attack.
Yeah, it seems to be working out for BootKamp much better so far than it did for Immortals, with the exception of that last round.
Yeah.
Immortals now actually having to check their own aggression here, as even popping the E1D was not enough to save a repelling player. just goes to show you they are not doing a good enough job droning things out, because if a player that couldn't even move still landed the shots on you.
I'm really worried right now because look at this. We've got 3 Immortal players just chilling on that that northwest balcony, or around that northwest balcony. On the rappel, Diogo goes down. M-King, an easy angle play there, all the way from Billiards through the wall. Cyber moving his way downstairs. He's going to hit by a Legion trap, and his position now given away. It seems like a run out from BootKamp, but they will quickly pull it back. Cyber does take down Duds downstairs. One is being delayed on his push thanks to those gas canisters, and he will eat a lot of damage before actually just being downed. Cyber going for the nade, hits the Legion trap. Nade bounces into Paula, who rotates directly into it. A very confusing play from the Legion. One downed, and Cyber looks to want to retrieve his downed teammate, though he's going to have to waste a lot of time to do that.
Yeah, I mean, one wonders what the point is in doing that, and that you're going to lose the round anyways, but he gets a kill.
Pre-fire from Cyber, expecting the push from M-King. This is actually recoverable. Boar waiting aggressively on the doorway. That's the one problem. It's a serious bottleneck. C4 will miss. EE1D in play, and here comes the final push. The peak from the Valkyrie will see success in the immediate intact. The second kill, and BootKamp take the round. Match point.
Well, so, well, we got it right last time in phase, but starting to feel like this is not the day for Immortals.
What? Even? So, okay, Immortals can at most get 1 point. They need to win 4 rounds to do that. Do I think that's likely to happen at this point? No. No, I do not.
Not after that last round.
Shaking my head right now.
Yeah.
I am very confused. This is... Okay, Immortals, I'll say it, I'm going to repeat it again because it almost seems like a fairy tale right now in my head. Immortals is one of the top contenders for LAN right now. They are, in fact, in that second place position. They look very strong there. BootKamp are nowhere near going to LAN. They cannot go to LAN. They are fighting for points right now to stay away from the relegation spot.
At this point, they're fighting to make the fight for LAN even more interesting going into next week.
I guess, yeah. I mean, it's a confusing match.
Yeah.
Possible BootKamp just more comfortable here on Coastline, though if I'm not mistaken, they played Immortals last time on Coastline.
Yeah, they lost.
And they lost. So, all right. Weird day.
Yeah.
Weird day, Devin.
Certainly a lot of Coastline, that's for sure.
Yeah, 3 matches of Coastline.
Yeah, and I always like that for the contrast, though. Just not too often, but it's fun every once in a while.
It's cool that we're going to know for fact going into the last week that Coastline won't be played in LATAM. Yeah. And also, it's very likely that we'll see in every matchup a randomly automatic banned map, which could really change things up.
Very true, very true. That does shake things up a little bit. Maybe we'll see an all-EU Coastline then instead. 0 for Diogo, just like the zeros in his name. Unfortunately, not a good start for him.
What is this, Paula?
That is gumption.
What are you doing?
You know, to be fair, not only did he get away with it, but he got 2 drones in the process.
Fair enough. He's hurting the drone economy. Also, what are you doing? What is that peak?
He's just playing pure aggression at this point. He's playing against their emotions.
Oh, well, that's the seemingly that's the mentality for both teams. We saw it from Immortals, even when they were down 4-0, let's push everything on defense, and now we're seeing it from BootKamp.
They're getting away with it, though.
Yeah, it seems to be working out pretty well.
Immortals are like, what do we do? This is the last round. We have to get 4 in a row, or we just lose this flat out.
Seems like the more aggressive you are on defense on Coastline, the more successful you are, at least from what we're seeing from the LATAM meta.
So forget the concept of a passive roam to burn time. It's just find peaks, take them.
Yep. All right, so pushing into the building. Cyber's going to eat some damage from above, a well-established angle, and...
oh, there goes the 0.
Diogo takes out Duds, so first kill of the match. Impact frags, Devin. Impact frags. And Cyber, speaking of, will take down Intact.
Nicely done. That is a little bit of a comeback here, so now Paula maybe going to tone down a little bit.
Maybe just a little bit. Not so, as M-King peeks wildly onto the north balcony. He will fall back afterwards, so preserving his own life. Well calculated there, sir. Well calculated. Is that a gripless MP5? Did I just see that right?
Speaking of gumption.
I want to see that again. I need to see that again.
I know, it's unfortunate Spectator here cannot hear us.
Unfortunate indeed, but yeah, it's a okay. All right, BootKamp now with 2 ACOGs and a C4 from below. This is still winnable. They've got to deal with more EE1Ds, and there are smokes and grenades still in play for Immortals, but utility is still well enough in hand for BootKamp that they can win this. It's just going to be difficult.
This is something we hadn't seen a lot of today, though, which is actually pushes from VIP, opening up the wall on in. So this is a rare treat here, but they seem to be able to succeed in pushing this. I think Boar is going to be a big factor in whether or not this works. Yeah,
you can see he's saving his C4 for an actual plant. He doesn't want to use it to get a kill. He wants to outright deny a plant. And it looks like he's going to be unsuccessful as the plant is going onto the bed. Knowing they haven't cleared the below, they will go for a full commit. Actually, no, it's in the default corner. The dock has gone down, and M-King is unable to get any kills on the entry. He has downed one opponent, but that opponent will be picked up. That's Cyber, who's back in play. Seemingly another round for Immortals, but Boar is going to get Uke from below. And M-King is just peeking all the angles, but they are not being peeked in turn by his opponent, at least not when it suits him. And Cyber will take M-King down. Boar a second kill in the round. But not enough time to get 3 and disable the diffuser. So Immortals keep it alive, 5-2. And they try for that draw, though they still need 3 more rounds to make it happen.
Well, a nice check on BK's aggression. Maybe that will have both teams really struggling to figure out what level of testosterone to bring to the next round.
I suppose so. Okay, so BootKamp finally got shut down. 4 rounds in a row, BootKamp were shutting down Immortals' aggression on attack, and now, for the first time, Immortals has managed to shut down BootKamp's aggression on attack. So, good job to Immortals.
Let's all just settle down, grab a juice box, take a nap. Let's relax for a minute.
You know, it's a way of playing the game, Devin.
It certainly is.
It's confusing, but it is.
Yeah.
Kitchen, the next site here.
A smarter choice than Penthouse, in my opinion, with the bands the way they are.
All right, so you want to play? You want to see? I'm gonna say one of the defenders. Let's see, who do they have? Bringing an Echo or okay? They're bringing a Doc. So my guess is M-King is gonna spawn a peek from the hookah window. What do you think he's gonna spawn peek from?
Fairly reasonable. We also see some people try and go for the run out on the balcony.
Yeah,
on
North balcony.
VIP. Yeah, definitely one that's common as well. Could
you
go
think
for that.
Boar's gonna do that? Maybe you usually see the Valkyrie do that one.
Yeah, I mean this is generally the way it is, but they could go for double spawn peek. Could
okay, so M-King spawn peek from hookah, Boar run out North balcony. That's my bet. That's what I'm thinking. Something's gonna happen.
Should be interesting at least, whether it works or not.
Maybe they won't spawn peek anything. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be interesting if there was no spawn peeks? Never thought I'd hear that.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with spawn peeking. It's just this sheer abundance that's shocking. So it doesn't seem like M-King's going to be going for a peek from the hookah window.
Oh, Cyber.
Yeah.
The only one in double digits, at least.
Yeah, look at him go.
The rest of his team below 5.
That's just proof of that's proof positive of teamwork, making the dream work and getting the win. And you see BootKamp, despite not having one dropping double digits, being up 5-2.
Absolutely.
No. So no spawn peek.
No.
All right.
I'd say maybe next round, but there might not be one.
really got to appreciate this from BootKamp. They are aware that both teams have been extremely aggressive throughout the match, and I think that they're reading that if they tone it down a little bit, they might be able to lock this out. It's probably due to their recent failure on the last round. Just a little bit too offside, a little too aggressive, and easily shut down.
Yeah, I don't think M-King's just going to run around pre-firing everything again.
Unlikely.
But Paula is going to go on a little bit of a roam, it looks like, as well as Boar. So there's definitely some roaming happening here. Jackal tracking of Boar. So he's going to hopefully run back to teammate. There he is. Going to get a little bit covered now. Should be okay. But they might be able to bait him in a little bit with that. So they've got to be careful now that they know the Jackal's tracking them.
This is such a dangerous peek from M-King. It's not a spawn peek, all right? Yeah. But it's dangerous. The bars can only do so much for you. He will fall back as soon as the first sign of danger presents itself. Not going to lose his life as he does that.
Fairly decent positions here, though. They are going to at least be covering the lobby as well. They've got covering delivery. As long as they don't leave the kitchen or the bar overexposed to themselves, not in a terrible position.
I got to say, setup from BK, definitely good.
Yeah.
But also, Immortals are going to have the right tools when they start their push into the kitchen. They've got a Lion in play. They've got smokes. They've got grenades. They've got all the different tools you need, like I said. And if BootKamp's unable to somewhere in this plan throw a wrench and hit a mark, then it might be a clear sweep for Immortals. It's a very shallow bomb site when it really comes down to it.
Yeah, and absolutely. Now they've got bar control as well from 3 of the attackers. I mean, it is a little bit of a one-dimensional attack at the moment, but they have the opportunity to tease out more pressure from delivery.
Now here's that wrench. It's Duds, but he loses the fight to Navi's. M-King takes out Diogo, though, over by the main lobby. And a second for M-King, playing those long angles with great success. EE1D to back up the smokes and gas canisters are trying to delay this push as much as possible. Boar far off site will give away his position, but he doesn't seem to care, and rightfully so. He's nowhere near his opponents. Yuke will take out M-King, the one to do so much damage earlier in the round, so it's all on the rest of BootKamp to hold this out. You can see that Paula is aware of his position's redundancy and will be rotating to hold the main hallway, and we'll see success in that endeavor as he eliminates Cyber from the off angle. Boar, perfect positioning, won the last attacker, but he has sight at least. It's not going to matter. Intact with the shotgun. BootKamp take it 6-2, and a huge upset to finish the day.
Well, you want to talk about those 6-2, 6-1s against Immortal? Now BootKamp finally gets to join the club with Liquid Face.
I am so taken aback by that result. Wow.
It was definitely
weird.
I mean, it was a mix, to be fair, of BootKamp actually playing pretty well. I don't want to say it was just Immortals playing badly, but also Immortals
No.
playing a